Whereas in Paris, sometimes, people don't have time.
They just don't have
They
time.
don't have time.
I feel like the way you're describing Paris is the way Americans would describe New York.
And this is the first time ever for me that I can call a place home.
I do remember when I first moved to Paris being sort of taken aback by how aggressive people were. But like you said, I don't know if it was like actual aggressiveness or if people just were just straight up about how they were feeling in that moment.
It's always gray.
Okay.
And it's gray, and there is this like, it's like there is a ceiling upon us, a gray ceiling, you know?
Yeah.
And we are trapped in it.
Okay. I think that because I live in Paris, I feel more American. But when I live in America, I feel more French.
Okay.
Because I'm faced with what I'm not. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us on this new episode of French Kiss. Today we talked about living in Paris. I had a couple of questions prepared for Zoe about her transition from living in rural Alsace to moving to big city Paris. We talk about what it's like living in Paris, sort of the positives and the negatives about not just the city, but also the people. What that's like, experiencing that. So without further ado, this is French Kiss. All right, and we're back for another episode of French Kiss. Mwah. How are you feeling?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. We're getting used to this, so we can dive in now.
Kind of.
Yeah. We're starting to get used to this. So what's today's episode about? It's about living in Paris.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what's funny is that I know of some podcasts and their entire concept is around just living in Paris.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I still had a hard time coming up with questions.
Okay.
I am the host today. In case we should probably
say that.
All right. Cool. Yeah, so I got some interesting questions up in here.
Yeah.
I think the most interesting thing about this topic for us is that we both aren't from Paris, but you have a perspective of coming to Paris from France, from another region of France. I have the perspective of somebody coming to France from somewhere outside of France. So for me, this was sort of my introduction to the whole living in France thing, whereas for you, it was just living in a different city, but that was still in France.
Yeah, even though you were coming in the summer in south of France.
Yeah, even though I went to France on vacation for the summer, so I knew what France was like, but not living there.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing.
Whereas you lived your whole life in Alsace.
Yeah.
In Strasbourg at one point, which is a big city, and that's actually a point that I want to bring up.
Yeah.
But then Paris, that was, 7 years ago? 7 or 8 now?
7 years ago, yeah. Crazy.
That's crazy. Okay, so I guess we just jump right into the questions.
Okay.
My first question is, you grew up in small towns around Alsace, and then your big city was Strasbourg. Before you moved to Alsace, what were some stereotypes?
Before I moved to Alsace?
Sorry, I wrote this question wrong.
Sorry.
Before you moved to Paris, and this is off to a great start. What were some before you moved from Alsace to Paris? What were some stereotypes you'd heard about Paris, and were they true? And also, yeah,
there's more.
This is a big look at this big chunk of question. Did living in Strasbourg help you transition to the big city, or did it still feel like a culture shock to you going from Strasbourg to Paris? Is the question clear to you?
Oh, yeah,
okay.
It is. Okay, so the first part is...
you
you
grew up in small...
The stereotypes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I think this general idea we have about Parisian people...
Mm-hmm. Whether it's true or not.
Yeah. Is that they are rude. They are... Like, everything is fast-paced. Everything in Paris is expensive. Parisian people can be considered as snob. Snob is correct. And also râleur. But I think it's a very
Complainers.
complainers. But this is a very French thing in general, not specific to Paris. And coming to Paris, moving to Paris, were these stereotypes true? I would say some of them, yes. I wouldn't say that Parisians are, by definition, rude, but I met more rude people here in this city than
Anywhere else?
anywhere else,
Interesting.
especially in Alsace, in Strasbourg, where I feel that people are very, very cute, very cutesy, very demure. Where like the interactions are way more authentic.
In Strasbourg.
In Strasbourg, yeah,
Interesting.
in Alsace in general, but yeah, in Strasbourg.
What do you hear when you say authentic? Like,
I would say more genuine,
okay.
more spontaneous, more friendly.
Okay.
Like maybe people will take more time just to have a conversation, even though we're total strangers. You
Gotcha.
know? Whereas in Paris, sometimes people don't have time.
They just don't have
They
time.
don't have time.
I feel like the way you're describing Paris is the way Americans would describe New York.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah. Do you feel like Paris resembles New York in that way? Where it's, people they don't got time.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've only been to New York twice and in vacation. So again, it's a whole different experience. But for sure, when you walk in New York streets, like people are they don't have time. Like they have their jobs. They need to go from point A to point B. But I feel that this city is more crazy than Paris. Like there are so much more. I don't know. Like I feel that it's more vibrant, and the people in New York, they will be more eccentric. Maybe they will dress up with I don't know. Paris is known for being a very fashion oriented city, but I do feel it more in New York.
Interesting.
More, more kooky, more original.
Well,
maybe.
I think those are two different things. I think in Paris people have maybe a higher fashion sense than in New York. Maybe this is in my opinion. I think it's just But in New York, people are more outside of the box thinkers in terms of how they dress. There's a little more craziness maybe, but I think that's the U.S. as a whole. People aren't afraid to show their true colors.
Yeah, exactly. But also, I feel that in New York, people are so much more friendly.
I was gonna say.
In America, in general, like when you meet someone in the street, they will greet you. They will say, "Hi, how is it going? I love your dress. Have a good day." Doesn't happen in Paris.
I think Americans would be really surprised to hear you say that. But I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I think that people, and I think the place where we feel it the most is in the service industry.
I was about to.
And we've discussed about this. We don't know if it's like a tip thing where like in the US they work for tips, so they like have this thing of like being friendly, whereas in France the tip is included. So they're like, I don't give a fuck what you think about me. I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
I need to get you food. That's it.
Yeah, but the service industry is so different, so different. This is a whole other experience in America. It's so nice when the waiter or waitress comes to your table. They ask how you're doing.
Hey, sweetie.
Hey, sweetheart. How is it going? They take the time. If they make a mistake or if there's a misunderstanding,
they're apologetic about it.
Yeah, and everything's all right.
And they write it down.
Yeah, you have a hard time.
They write down the order so that they remember it. Because in France, there's this things where they just, I don't know if they want to show it off, but they just memorize the whole order. and it doesn't impress anybody. It just stresses you out. Because most of the time they'll get it right. I'm not saying they don't do it right, but it's just if it goes wrong, just write it down.
Yeah.
This isn't making my experience any better. I'm sorry, we're going on a tangent, but my God, and I know it's a me problem, but I tense up and I'm like, please just write it down because if we don't get the right order, I'm gonna be like, they could have just written it down and they didn't. But anyways, moving on. I'll let you speak.
Yeah, I just feel that in general, the relationship with strangers is so much more friendly in America. And coming back to service and like maybe when it comes to shops in France, I feel like, people just don't want to work. Like you enter a boutique and they would be annoyed, they're like, oh no, I have to work. I have a customer.
Well, I think this is something we talked about in another episode where it's like, and I've said this many, many times, where Americans live to work and French people work to live. So the job is just, I'm here to make money, but like I have my life. Yeah. Whereas in the US, it's like, I gotta do this job well. Like people are much more ambitious when it comes to their jobs. So when you're a store owner, I feel like it's more important in the US. I don't know. Maybe I'm.
Yeah, it might be, but what it creates is that French people, they don't seem to enjoy their work life, and it's a shame because it takes most of our time. Like if you have if you open your shop at 8 and you close it at 7 p.m., then you spend the whole day at work having a bad time.
Yeah, but I do appreciate.
It's too bad.
I do appreciate the fact that they just they're genuine about, hey, this is.
I'm not having fun.
I'm not having
a good time.
Like I'm not gonna pretend for you.
Yes, and that's something else that I realized maybe is that maybe French people are more honest.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. They're like,
they will just show you like.
I'm not gonna put on a fake smile for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Just be disingenuous.
And this whole friendly approach that American people have, it might be fake sometimes, and they're just putting a show. But I don't know. I don't feel it that way. But
it sure feels nice.
Yeah.
To be greeted with a smile.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a fake smile.
A smile costs exactly zero.
That's the thing
euro.
too. Also, there's a study that like apparently if you smile, you'll trick your brain into thinking you're having a good time.
Yeah.
And also, this isn't for another episode, but you and I have a saying, which is this could be fun.
This could be fun.
Which we say whenever we're having a
bad time.
And it's not fun. Like this morning with the taxi. But generally, it's like you can have a positive mindset about things. And if you switch your mindset to like, okay, like this isn't so bad. And so maybe the smile isn't fake. It's just you're like, you know what? Let's like make a good thing out of this bad situation. And maybe Americans have more of that capacity than Parisians.
Yeah. We love a good smile. Keep smiling.
Yep.
Okay, so in terms of stereotypes, I would say that some Parisians are in a bad mood.
Yeah,
and
it's hard not to
are not afraid not to show it to you. What else I said? Fast-paced. Yeah, when I moved to Paris, at first, I used to hate it. Like for the first year, I didn't feel great. Is this another question?
No.
Okay.
I was checking to see if it was, but it's not.
I didn't feel great at all for many reasons. First of all, I used to live in the suburb, in Aubervilliers. And I have nothing against suburbs.
But let's maybe not get into that too much right now.
Après.
Yeah.
Super. Donc, voilà. Tac.
We'll develop that in a later question.
Living in Strasbourg.
Stop reading my notes, please, actually.
Okay.
This is super confidential. Zoe's trying to sneak a peek here. Did living in Strasbourg help your transition to a big city? Like, did you feel like if you had moved directly from Schiltigheim?
I didn't live in Schiltigheim.
I wasn't saying Schiltigheim. I was saying Schiltigheim. I was talking about a whole other town here. Kleefjememeikheim. If you had moved directly from that rural environment to Paris instead of transitioning from Strasbourg to Paris, you feel like that made a big difference?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think I lived in Strasbourg for 4, maybe 5 years.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
I thought it was a year.
no, it was more.
Oh, I'm so off. Okay.
No. Because I left my mother's house when I was 17. So I was quite young.
Yeah.
I used to live with my ex-boyfriend at the time. And then I lived with another friend, then alone. Let me just think. Maybe 4 years. Maybe 4 years I lived by myself in Strasbourg. And it definitely helped me make that bridge.
That transition?
The transition between a big city to another.
Right.
Because I think the main thing when you move anywhere in the world and when you leave the parents' nest,
When you leave the parents' nest, yeah.
Is finding your own independence, which I already had found out, living in Strasbourg. But also what really helped me too is that just before moving to Paris, I traveled all by myself. I went to Iceland for 6 months alone. And then I did a small Europe trip, hitchhiking. And then I went back to France.
Hitchhiking? You mean hitchhiking?
Hitchhiking?
I like hitchhiking though.
Hitchhiking.
Just hiking through Poison Oak. Hitchhiking.
Sounds like a fun experience.
Yeah, let's bring that.
So, and I came back to Alsace then, and I decided to apply to Les Cours Florent. And I got in, and I moved. But yeah, like I spent the last year on my own, traveling into big European cities.
Right.
So I was very prepared, But still, I had a hard time when I arrived in Paris. But anyways.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
We'll get into your arrival and how that was.
But yeah, the main thing is independence to me. And finding your balance.
Like work-life, relationship.
Yeah, on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the last part?
No, that was
I'm
it.
good?
Yeah, you're
okay,
good.
Perfect.
So here's a question which I already know the answer to, but I'd like for you to expand on it. Does Paris now feel like home more than Alsace does?
Yes.
Yeah.
Big time.
Okay.
Which is crazy because when I arrived 7 years ago, I used to hate it.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I didn't have a good time at first. And
because you also didn't come alone. You came with your boyfriend at the time.
Yes. But the relationship wasn't going that well.
But I think that also affected.
Didn't help.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, the first year I lived in Paris, I lived in the suburb in Aubervilliers. And I have nothing against suburb. I think it's...
you think it's a quaint little place?
But it's quaint.
Quaint is mignon.
Yeah, it can be super quaint. But when you're a girl, a young woman...
Oh, so it's not quaint at all.
It depends. It depends on the neighborhoods, on the time. But
That's not a suburb thing. That's an Aubervilliers thing, though, right? It's not super safe.
Yeah, and especially the metro station Aubervilliers 4 Chemin Pantin. When you're a young woman and you take the subway and you go out of the station at night, it's not a safe place for a woman to walk
alone. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember I just felt so insecure. So that's
unsafe.
So unsafe. Oh yeah, sorry.
No, yeah, but you felt unsafe.
Yeah, I felt unsafe, and that's why I started using a bike because I felt so much safer on a bike because nobody can stop you. And
I mean, they can, but yeah, the chances are
it's harder.
Yeah, it's for sure.
Whereas when you know that you have your 10 minutes walk from the metro station to your apartment, these 10 minutes feel like
An eternity.
yeah. And nothing bad happened to me. I just got like 3 iPhones stolen,
Fun.
but nothing bad happened to
That's
me.
good.
But still, you
don't feel. Yeah.
and you apprehend. So there's that. I do feel that it was more fast paced than living in Strasbourg. I personally don't like taking the subway there.
In general.
In general,
That makes sense.
so yeah, I had quite a hard time.
Transitioning.
Yeah, but now Paris feels like home to me, and of course, it has something to do with you. Because anywhere I would be, if you're with me, it would feel like home now. But it became more true in this specific apartment as well that we have now. We live in the 19th, nearby the Butte Chaumont.
Our address is.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I think that's fine to say.
And I felt so good in this apartment, and this is the first time ever for me that I can call a place home, because I moved a lot when I was a kid,
Right.
and even though it wasn't like from a country to another, it was in a very restrained perimeter. I always had to change schools, to change friends, to make new friends, to adapt myself, and I didn't live in a very secure, emotional environment either. So I think it didn't help. And yeah, I like the house we have now in Alsace with my mother. It's not home to me because I don't have any memories there.
Right.
I didn't grow up there. So
I'm not. Based on what you're saying, though,
yeah.
childhood memories isn't necessarily what makes a place home. Because you're saying that this place that we live in feels like home, but we've only been here for 2 years.
Almost
now,
three.
yeah.
Almost 3. 2.5 anyways. Yeah, that's true. But I don't know, I felt so much more attached to it, and safe and comfy. And it's crazy because so the first year when I didn't have a good time in Paris, I used to come home to Alsace every 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
Now I don't come home that often,
If at all, yeah.
if at all.
Like once every 2-3 months.
Yeah, and you're being...
And I'm being generous, yeah.
And now I'm calling Paris home. Like when I'm in a train from Alsace to Paris or from anywhere and I'm coming back to Paris, it's like I'm coming home.
Right. Whereas before it was like I'm going to Paris.
Yeah. And it feels so good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So that answers that question.
Yeah.
My next question is, what's something about Paris that you love that maybe you didn't expect to? It doesn't necessarily have to be something that you didn't expect to, but if it is, hurrah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think arriving on the metro station at the same time than the subway.
What? What? I didn't understand that at all.
Okay, arriving on the platform at the same time than the subway. This is stupid.
I mean, what's funny about that is that could happen in literally any city in the world.
Yeah, but we don't have the subway in Strasbourg.
Yeah, you have the tram.
We have the tram.
Yeah. What's something specific to Paris that you love? I like that answer though. It's very funny that that's what you thought of, but yeah, is there something about the city specifically?
I think the artistic and cultural events and possibilities.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, maybe I didn't know that because before coming to Paris, I was not going to a lot of shows, things like that, and my love for theater, shows, culture, entertainment,
Wasn't as developed.
and increased a lot when I moved to Paris. So I discovered that I could go out every night if I wanted to and have so many choices.
I mean, the theater scene alone in Paris is
It's crazy.
It's insane. Yeah, there's
And it's
everything.
It's even it became a bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because you have so much choices. And like people often tell us that it might be a great thing to live in Paris because you can go to the theater all the time. And yes, it is, of course. But also, yeah, sometimes it's too much. I'm like, I don't know what to see anymore. I don't know. I just want to stay home. So yeah, but like the fact that there are so many possibilities is amazing, and so many different genres.
Genres.
Like you can go to the cabaret, you can go see a blockbuster, you can see a very independent company pulling out their new show. We can see all our friends' work because we often go support our like place that we know people playing
Or performing in, yeah.
Yeah, performing in, and that's good.
Yeah.
I don't care personally anymore about the clubs and the bars. Like you would rarely see me going in a bar, having a drink at night.
How was the Strasbourg nightclub scene? Was it good?
It's quite good.
This one, you know.
Especially in terms of techno.
Okay, yeah.
Because I'm a big techno fan. I mean, it's less good than Paris.
Okay.
Let's be honest.
Got it.
But yeah, I don't go out anymore that much. And I'm okay with it. I feel way more healthy, and balanced. So that's good. But still, yeah, you can go. Like the accessibility in Paris is quite crazy. But like I think it's the same as any big city in the world. Like if you go to SF or New York,
yeah,
it's even more intense.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
All right, this next question you kind of already touched on it, but maybe we can really dive into it a little more. What's something you hate about living in Paris?
The weather.
I knew you were going to say that. Of course.
Yeah, we don't agree on this. Because,
What?
Because,
no, I don't.
Because he's cuckoo.
I don't.
You're too positive.
No.
This could be fun. This is so much fun for you every day, even when it's gray.
There's two things about this. First of all, I don't mind the cold as much as most people do. I actually enjoy the cold. There's that, and also people don't appreciate. I feel like people feel like it rains a lot more than it actually does. That's how I feel.
To me, the main problem is not the cold, it's not the rain, it's the grayness.
The grayness.
It's always gray.
Okay.
And it's gray, and there is this like, it's like there is a ceiling upon us, a gray ceiling,
Yeah.
And we are trapped in it.
Okay.
I don't like that. And
that's a valid.
It affects my mood.
Yeah.
A lot, unfortunately.
And compared to Strasbourg, you feel like the weather's a lot worse here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe you're right.
This is how I feel. I feel that from November to March.
This year was
we're just
particularly
in a gray marmite.
a gray cauldron.
I don't know.
This year was like the weather was particularly bad.
But I mean, we didn't have the summer.
Yeah, that's true.
We were not.
I was in Brussels, which is worse. So
But no, like from November to March, it's just bad.
It's just gray.
I need sun in my life. I like the sun so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is this is one of the things I love most in life.
Mm-hmm.
The sun is so good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my
This is the thing.
biggest issue here.
Okay. All right.
And the nature maybe, but we live nearby.
Yeah, we're lucky.
A big park, so it helps, but still.
How do you think living in Paris changed you? Doobie-doo-bap-boo-doo. What?
I know.
Okay.
I think that Paris made a boo-boo out of me.
Oh.
Yeah, I think boo-boo comes from it comes from yuppies. It's a term from David Brooke from the 2000, and it describes a part of the population who's cultured, wealthy, who advocates for equality, who is sensitive to environmental and socialist values, and yeah, it's just a way to describe people that are like us living in the 19th, having a dog, soon a baby, and walking in the streets in the Butte-Chaumont makes us real bobos.
Okay, so is it maybe because from what this is what I thought boo-boo meant. Bourgeois and bohème are like two opposites of the spectrum, correct? Am I correct in saying that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and so basically it's like a new type of people that kind of aren't necessarily super rich, but aren't necessarily super poor either, but are kind of like the middlemen in a society and are like pretty cultured, like you said, and they have enough money to like be independent and be all right. And that's what bobo is.
But it's not a necessarily it's a quite negative way.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know this. I guess I don't know what bobo means
Anyways,
at all.
I think it made me more urban.
Okay.
I'm more of a citadine now.
Like a city girl.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm more independent as well.
More so you feel than in Strasbourg. Do you feel like it's because you've gone even further away from your parents?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Might be. And also, surprisingly, it made me more casanière, a homebody,
Interesting.
which is
Surprising, yeah.
surprising because I live in a city where everything is accessible, where I can do whatever I want. I can go out every night. I could go out
And
every
yet
night.
we choose to stay in our 55 square meter
Oh
apartment.
yes. Oh yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
I get that.
I feel so much better at home.
Maybe it's because there's so much going on outside that you're just like, you know what, I'm good here. This is too much excitement for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like people often think that we have a pretty rich social life, which is untrue.
Our social life is talking to each other on a podcast.
That's true. No, but we have to. I often feel that I have to make an effort, to go out, to do activities, to do stuff. Not necessarily see people, see our friends, but being active.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So yeah, Paris made a homebody out of me.
Okay. I love that for you.
What about you, Loïc? Do you feel that?
So what about you?
So tell me more. No, but do you feel like Paris changed you? I mean, living in Paris changed you, coming from abroad, coming from America.
Yeah, definitely. Well, my original plan was just to move for a year because I went into third year directly of Cours Florent, and so I only needed to do 1 year, get my degree, and then I was like, okay, that was my 1 year in Paris, my 1 year abroad. I'm gonna go back. But then, I mean, we met. I got a couple of good jobs, so I stayed. But man, I'm kind of thinking back at all the questions that I asked you, and like the whole stereotypes thing and stuff. I think there's a lot of things.
And this is actually your domaine d'expertise.
What is?
Making fun of French people.
I guess so. It's more the French language, but yeah, I don't know. I do remember when I first moved to Paris being sort of taken aback by how aggressive people were. But like you said, I don't know if it was like actual aggressiveness or if people just like were just straight up about how they were feeling in that moment and if they felt pissed off. Whereas maybe in the US there's a little bit more. I mean, it depends. But from what I experienced living in LA and San Francisco, there's a little bit more. People hold back a little bit more. Whereas, like getting cut off and stuff in Paris, like people will. I would just see people yelling at each other a lot more. I'm not saying that doesn't exist in the US, but I would just see it constantly in Paris. People just like throwing out insults at each other, which I'm sure does happen in the US too. But so I think that over the years, I've turned into one of those people where I don't like openly insult people, but I don't back away from confrontations like I used to. And if somebody does something, I'll like tell them straight up, like, bro, stop.
This is not okay.
This is not okay. Like, or shut up, or like, like I'll fight back a little bit. And I used to not. I used to kind of like cower away, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think it's okay to just be like, okay, like I'm not gonna engage on whatever this guy's doing. I'm gonna keep living my life. But yeah, I maybe I've grown a bit of a backbone, but I think it's more of like, just like telling it how it is, and I do appreciate that. But also, there's a little too much aggressiveness that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say that it wasn't necessary.
It's not necessary. But sorry, has it changed me? That was the question you asked me. I mean, in that sense, it changed me. Meeting you changed me. Going to there's just so many things that over the last 4 years, over the last 4 or 5 years, has changed me that I couldn't pinpoint what it is. And I'm sure living in this city has changed me in a way, but I couldn't pinpoint in what way exactly.
Okay.
So yeah.
Do you feel more French or American today?
I think that because I live in Paris, I feel more American. But when I live in America, I feel more French.
Okay.
Because I'm faced with what I'm not. You know what I mean? All right. Here's my next question. When you moved to Paris, you were in a relationship.
Yeah.
And then you were single for a little bit. And then we started dating.
Yeah.
How did you experience Paris differently as a single lady? And now as a married lady? How has that do you feel like that sort of changed your Parisian experience?
Not really.
Because you weren't really dating when you were single, huh?
I've never been a serial dater. I've never liked going on dates. I tried to put myself on dating apps, which I hate.
Yeah.
Oh, I had such a hard time with dating apps.
Interesting.
But also it was at a time of my life where I might not have been ready for
a relationship.
And I was dealing with other stuff in my life. Maybe I wasn't confident enough. And so this whole hitting on each other, having to...
The chase,
but especially with dating apps, like doing the first move, trying to say funny and interesting things.
I love that. It's my favorite moment.
I hate it. Such a pain in the ass for me. And I would put on a show.
Yeah,
I would try to be interesting for the other person.
You didn't feel like you were being genuine.
Yeah, I wasn't myself.
So
I didn't like that.
You never went out with the sole purpose of maybe meeting somebody or never. Okay.
Never. And even when I was going out, or like either, I don't know, in a rave or in a bar, sometimes it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, my purpose wasn't to meet somebody. And if I was meeting someone and I would find them cute or likable, or if they would find me cute or likable and they would start talking to me and hit on me, I would be so shy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it kind of like a?
Yeah, I didn't
want to, or was it like a shy? Like
it depends,
you were
because if I was interested, it was even worse.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't think it changed many things as an experience, being single and being and dating you and now being married to you, because now that we're together and we're married, I still do the same things as before. Like, I don't do it because I don't want to do it, but I could. I mean, yes, I still go to raves sometimes, even if it's like only once or twice in the year. Yeah, I have these little treats, I treat myself.
Yeah.
Or I do a lot of activities with my friends without you. But yeah, it didn't change much.
Okay. You had an interesting social life experience in Paris too, though, because you moved specifically for school, theater school,
That's true.
which is somewhere where you just naturally make friends and meet people, and you don't have to like go out of your way to make new friends.
True.
And even now, when you're on projects, you still will meet people, make friends. A lot of the friends that we have are either people that we met at school or people that we've worked with professionally.
But also, the thing with Les Cours Florent, I think theater school in general, is, I mean, we were in the musical theater department, so it means that we had like almost 30 hours of class, which is a lot.
Yeah.
You're committed in your studies, and you have a lot of work, and you have a lot of rehearsals as well. So yeah, you spend most of the time with the people you're at school with. On the side, I used to work to pay my rent, to pay my stuff. So I didn't have much time for me either, And yeah, during 3 years, my whole life was evolved around school and people at school.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was an easy way to make friends, but also, to stay in this bubble and to stay in your comfort zone.
Yeah. And it also made it so it wasn't necessary for you to go out and like...
I didn't feel the need to.
And so you said you had a job on the side. What was your first job when you moved to Paris?
I think I worked at Bio C'est Bon.
Bio C'est Bon, okay. Which is a
bio
grocery
shop,
store.
Grocery store.
Yeah.
I've also been a babysitter for a while. I worked at Bagelstein.
Bagelstein.
Yeah, they sell bagels.
Yeah.
I did a couple of elementary jobs.
Okay. Elementary jobs? Like...
Travail alimentaire.
Yeah, like you did a couple of jobs where you had just to like pay bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even when I was in Strasbourg at the time.
So I imagine the rent was very different in Strasbourg than it is in Paris.
Yeah.
And life in Paris is a lot more expensive than it is in Strasbourg.
Yeah. And that's also why I didn't go out that much, maybe. Because all my money went into rent, groceries, and I just couldn't afford going to restaurants and being crazy, at nights.
For sure. Let's go to the last question because we have time for one more question. You kind of answered this with the single lady and married lady thing, but I'm going to go for it. How are your relationships or how you meet people different in Paris than in Alsace?
Damn.
Yeah, and you brought up also the fact that like your interactions with people feel more genuine in Alsace, and I'm just curious
With
With strangers.
strangers.
Yeah.
Like when you meet people outside in the streets. But my friendship,
Yeah.
my friendship relationship
Mm-hmm.
today are way more genuine and authentic. But I don't think it has something to do with either Alsace or Paris.
Oh yeah, whether it's in that city or this one.
Yeah, it's just that
You grew up.
I grew up.
Right.
I'm more adult now. I handle my relationships differently. And also I used to not take care of my friendships that much when I was younger, which caused me a lot of harm, a lot of hurt. So I decided that I would take care of my friends,
Right.
of my friendships, like learning to put the other first, not being too selfish, being a good listener, setting boundaries
Right.
also, because it's part of relationships.
Also, this is more in terms of the question, but the nature of how you met, like the way in which you met your friends in Paris is super different than how you met your friends in Alsace, because a lot of those are like childhood friendships that you met in school, but these are people that you met in the work that you love, doing the work that you love in theater school, doing theater with these people that are a lot more aligned with your own interests.
Yes, exactly.
And I think that makes a huge difference with the people that you meet, and
Of course.
you're not just stuck with the people that are in your elementary school with. You're meeting people that have the same goals in life.
Yeah, and same passion.
Same passion, yeah.
Same
More passion.
more footwork. No, that's true, of course. Sharing the love of arts with my actual friends help a lot, creating this connection and this like strong bond between us.
Yeah.
So there's that, but also my relationships in general are way more healthy. And there's this thing about childhood friends where, because it's been like more than 20 years that you know them.
Yeah.
There's this thing that, we're friends from forever and we're just going to remain friends. And sometimes the motivations are a bit blurred, maybe.
Yeah.
But you just continue, entertaining this relationship, and
Continue. Is that what you said?
but you just continue.
You just keep continue. Just keep continue, man.
Just continue going.
That I want a poster of that. Keep continuing. If you're feeling down, keep continuing. Okay, sorry.
Tu es triste? Arrête. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but sometimes it's interesting to think about why you're still friends with these people, and if the Loïc if the Zoe of today would meet these people in like right now in this life, in this environment, would we actually be friends or not?
Yeah,
it's interesting.
But you can't forget the shared experiences.
Yeah, of course.
What did I say? You can't forget the shared experiences you had with these people during your childhood, and it does create a bond. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes it just doesn't click anymore, and that's okay. And
that is okay. Yeah.
Just have to let it go. Like it's all right. But so like I said, the fact that I met most of my friends in theater school helped a lot creating that bond. But also I didn't feel the need to make other friends outside and to, meet new people. And when I was younger, I used to have many friends, but like, as I said, not taking care of these friendships. Whereas today,
You have fewer friends, but
I have fewer friends, but like,
yeah, super close.
yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Like
and
true friends.
yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, where communication is so much more fluid and I can
Transparent.
be transparent, I can be fully myself. Yeah, it just feels better and more healthy, more réconfortant,
Comforting.
and safe,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that was our episode about living in Paris. Yeah, no, that's cool. I love that living in Paris. I love that now living in Paris for you makes so much sense. But I know that it's hard to draw the line between, you know, how Paris actually changed you and how it was just a matter of time and growing up and maturing and obviously, you know, you met these people by going to a theater school in Paris. Had you met these people in theater school in Strasbourg, would that relationship have been that much different? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah. But
And the funny thing is that we don't want to stay in Paris.
yeah, but that's because we don't want Parisian kids. No, I'm kidding. But I think that, you know, we
We want to go back to the countryside.
yeah, we want a house with a yard, and that's just not something you can do in Paris. But that doesn't, you know, Paris is a nice city. I like living in Paris if you compare them to other cities, I guess. All right. Well, thank you so much. I hope you guys got a bit more of a insight on what it's like living in Paris. What else do I want to say? I want to say one last thing before we go. I love living in Paris with you, but I think I would love living with you anywhere.
Oh.
Yeah, I had to finish it on a cute little note. But yeah, anyways, thank you so much for joining us, guys. We hope to see you next week. This was
French Kiss.
Mwah.